We made over the smallest room in our house and it took us over a month to do it. Hi, I'm Denni. I'm a mum and I am studying interior design. My husband Amos is a carpenter of 10 years and together we love to renovate and decorate houses. This week we are working on the toilet. It's definitely very lackluster. It is a blank canvas, white walls, white tile. We have a lot of nicks in the plaster on the side of the toilet because our kids have a toilet training seat and it's always banging against the wall, and the plaster in our house is very brittle. So we definitely need an option to reinforce those walls and to create more of a sturdy environment. Sorry if you can hear the wind. It is blowing a gale here. It's so stormy and windy outside at the moment. So that's the sound in the background if you can hear that. To protect the crumbling plaster, we decided on an option to line the walls with timber lining. I really love this design feature and it also is very practical for the space and our needs in the space. So we're working with a tile that is pre-existing on the floor and it goes up against the wall. So we needed to find something to break the pattern between the tile and the linear timber paneling that was going to be put on the wall. We ended up going with a trim and we put that right above the tile to create a breaker between the tile and the linear timber paneling. And we finished off with the same trim on top to tie it all together. So you would have seen in our last video that we have completely designed and planned out this toilet room makeover. We used a dried floral arrangement to kick off the design and use it for inspirations for the colors and the dried floral theme throughout the room. The colors in the space were quite moody, lush and pigmented. I really liked this design that we came up with, but I kept getting this off feeling and I just couldn't shake it. So this is when things started to take a lot longer than we anticipated. Life started to get very busy. Amos had a lot of renovations and projects going on with his carpentry business. So our focus really took a nosedive. And I think a big component of this was just the fact that I was losing my enthusiasm for the design direction of this space. It wasn't motivating me enough to get this space done. There was something off about the paint that we had chosen. We had found this like beautiful muddy reddy paint. I liked the paint, but I don't know that I liked it in the space. I just felt something was off. I think I felt like there was too much contrast between the dark, moody, reddish clay color going on the walls and then the white, the natural white Dulux paint that we were going to have on the top half of the wall. And I felt like the red was too much of a bold color for such a small room. That was just my personal feelings. And it took a long time to realize this. So we let it sit. I think 3 weeks went by and the toilet stayed just with the lining on there. It was just like a complete reno job and it stayed that way for a while. It wasn't until I finally decided, no, I think I have a problem with the design direction, that we started to get some momentum again. I went back to my Pinterest board and had a look through all of the inspiration that I had saved for this room. And I came across this picture that I had saved, one of the first pictures, and it had like this green clay color. So we're still going with the clay theme, the earthy theme, but this was more of a gray green color and I really loved that. I thought that was quite neutral. It was quite drawn back, and I think because it's such a small room, it needed something a little bit more subtle going on there. So we went back to Bunnings and had a look through our paint options and we ended up with a color from Dulux called Linseed. So we started patching, sanding, and Amos spent a few nights applying the paint and we were really happy with how that turned out. a few DIYs for this space. The first one was a little cafe curtain. I went to Spotlight and I found this really beautiful linen fabric. I really loved the color and the texture. It kind of suited that earthy mood that we were going for. I love the way that it hung in the window, and when the sunlight hits it you can see all the beautiful texture in the material. But yeah, it has a very loose weave, so it was a little bit difficult to work with. I ended up pinning it to my bed like a little pin-up board to keep the shape of the material while I worked with it. So I was just adjusting the pins as I went, and I ended up finishing the edges with a French seam just to tuck it all in nicely and prevent that fraying. Project was a calendar. I really wanted like a birthday calendar hung in the toilet. You can see on our first inspiration picture we had like a dark timber. I was hoping Amos could get some wood from his stash and we could use that to create the backing of the calendar. But while I was at Bunnings, I actually found this beautiful bamboo chopping board, and it had a rope handle on it, and I really loved the idea of the chopping board. I thought that was rustic and interesting, and it also had a built-in handle, so I thought that option was sorted for hanging it on the wall. And with this new direction, with going with more like light timbers against the earthy green grey colour, I didn't even need to go in with any stain or anything. I could keep it as it is. I ended up finding these beautiful gold clips from Spotlight, which were perfect. Amos is able to screw them into the chopping board, and it created the perfect little clip to clip my little papers that I am going to print out for the calendar. So I went onto Canva and I started designing a little calendar. I went for a really minimal approach with just a simple font, simple numbers and lines, and the pop of interest was the dried florals that I found in the Canva graphics library. I really love using these dried florals. You've seen me use them on the previous video when we were planning out the toilet makeover. So every month has a different dried floral. I'll see if I can create this as a PDF and maybe allow you guys to download it. If you check in the description below, there might be a link for the calendar that I've created so you can print one off for yourself. So I really wanted to have this kind of organic handmade paper kind of feel. So I found this beautiful paper from Officeworks, and it was a watercolor paper. I just loved the texture in it. I thought it was beautiful and it was going to work really well for that whole, yeah, just like a handmade feel in this space. But I ended up jamming the printer with it because it turns out it was really, really thick and the printer did not like it. So we went in with a plan B and we actually found this other textured paper. It's a little bit darker, which actually suits the room really well. It kind of goes with that moody, natural, earthy kind of vibe. So we went in with plan B. We've got new paper and the design is printed out, and we cut it in half and we clip it into place. We could not find a gold toilet roll holder anywhere, so we ended up spray painting one of the toilet roll holders we found gold. To finish off the space, we went in with a white grout. We wanted to update the tiles in the toilet area, but Obviously we don't want to rip them up and replace all of them, so adding a fresh layer of white grout really improves the tile, and it honestly makes them look brand new and transforms the whole room. I really recommend doing this little hack if you want to update your bathroom or something like that, and there's a section of tile that you want to keep. Using some fresh grout goes a long way. So it might have taken us a whole month, over a month now, to finish this toilet room, which is the smallest room in our house, but we are so happy with how it turned out.
I see the crossroads coming up ahead, a choice I make but haven't made yet. Why do pathways feel so threatening? What ifs are never ending? Caught in the shadow of what might be, a future I fear but still cannot see. Wait up, tomorrow should be easier. What if I leap and it's not what I fear?
It has been really fun infusing a little bit of character and whimsy into a small corner of our home. Next week we hope to continue with this style direction and bring it into our laundry, but we're going to challenge ourselves to do a $0 makeover. So that means we are only going to be using things we have on hand, leftover paint, decor items. We're gonna have to shop our own home and revive the components of the laundry that we have already there. It's going to be a really fun challenge. So make sure you subscribe so you can get notified when our next video drops and see how our laundry room turns out. As always, thanks for watching, and thank you so much to all of the new faces we have here. We really appreciate you, and we're so excited to have you along the journey. See you next week.